basically the last few comics I've had a chance to read. I haven't been to the store for going on like 3 weeks now. And last time I was there, I got a couple more, I think maybe 2 more titles off my list. I went ahead and dropped the Teen Titan, or not the, is it Teen Titan? No. Young Justice. Sorry, Young Justice, Teen Titans, kind of the same thing. But I went ahead and dropped that. Bendis kind of seemed like he didn't know where he was going. After that initial arc, it was kind of just meandering. So, knowing that Bendis is coming to the end of his Superman work with DC, I've heard that he's doing something after he's hinted at a big project, but nobody's said what that is yet, and I don't know what it is, but it seems to be taking more of his attention, because his stuff recently has been just, it's kind of like he's trying to come to a close, but he knows he has a certain amount of issues, so he's padding. So I dropped that one. Can't remember what else I dropped, but I'm trying to get probably a few more books off my list. So this first one is Mighty Thor, or just Thor, I guess, number 6. This was kind of the end to the Galactus storyline, and it was kind of, to an extent, I'll say anticlimactic, because this came out a few months ago, so, spoilers for a few months ago, but basically the all-powerful thing that Thor and Galactus had teamed up to fight, it ends up just kind of messing up Galactus, and that's all it wanted, so it leaves. So it's not some long drawn-out conclusion, it was just kind of like, okay, later. And that led into Thor number 7, which the cover itself is kind of a spoiler too. Basically, it's kind of the point where anybody can pick up the hammer. I don't know, that to me felt kind of, it just feels like it's been done before, they took Thor back to Braxton, which was a big part of the J. Michael Straczynski run, and I liked that run, but, the whole thing where suddenly anybody can pick it up, didn't strike me as anything amazing or memorable, so I might drop Thor as much of a Thor fan as I am. If it feels redundant, I don't need to be spending $4 a month on it. Mortal Hulk, happens to be number 34. This title is always really good. I highly suggest, if you're not picking it up, to go ahead and give it a try. I'm sure they have trade paperbacks of at least the first 2 or 3 volumes now. But this has been really great if you loved Hulk as a kid, the 80s, 70s, 80s, when he was more of a mindless monster. This stuff is great, I think. Next up we have Captain America. This is issue 24, has Red Skull on the front. And sorry, I'm at a bad angle, but Captain America's in pretty good. Ta-Nehisi Coates is writing it, and I didn't like him on Black Panther, but on Cap he's been good so far. I will say this cover in particular, by Alex Ross, this is supposed to be oh gosh, I've lost her name, Captain America's girlfriend. You know what I'm talking about, but anyways, this female face is just so non-specific or there's not much about it where I could say, oh, that's Peggy Carter. I thought that was kind of a lost cover there. This is 22. For some reason, if you look at this just right, it looks like Cap has like a French twist mustache, doesn't it? I know it's just the shadow on his upper lip, but it looks like he's like rocking a Tom Selleck mustache. But Captain America's been pretty good. It doesn't hurt that they have Alex Ross doing, giant super covers. But that's been pretty good. Unfortunately, the interior art is not nearly as memorable. But that's been going pretty good. I'll probably stay on that. This is Strange Adventures number 6, part of the Black Label series, and it's number 6 of 12. This has been one of the few books that I'm picking up where I read it basically immediately, first thing. If you don't know, it's Adam Strange, and basically an alien race is coming to Earth, and Adam Strange has been kind of alleged to have done something during his war with them on Ron, and it's kind of followed him to Earth, and Mr. Terrific is looking into it. It's by Tom King and Mitch Gerards and Evan Shaner. Evan Shaner's art is just beautiful. I wish he was just doing a regular monthly book. He probably can't. I mean, he's sharing art with Mitch Gerards here, but this has been really good. Batman 3 Jokers. This was the last one, book 3. If you've been reading this, I know, I think Newsarama gave it a middling score, because they felt like it didn't answer enough questions, or, they didn't think there was enough of a payoff. I personally really liked it. I mean, if they told you exactly who the Joker was and his entire backstory, it's kind of the same as Wolverine. Wolverine was always cooler when we didn't know everything about him, and I think if you say, with something like Origins, or if they had done it here in 3 Jokers and said, this is what happened, this is who he was, boom, 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 and there was no more mystery or question, I think that would have been a mistake. So, Jeff Johns gives you just enough of, some questions, and he gives you enough answers, I felt, to make it worthwhile. They do give you some information about the Joker that we didn't know before, and there are some revelations, but, I felt it was okay not to, just hand the reader everything and say, this is exactly what happened, This is Aquaman 54, which came out back when they were doing the Year of the Villain tie-ins, so it's quite old. I also had 53, which was one of the most filler issues I think I've ever read. I've stopped picking up Aquaman. I thought DeConnick did an okay job, but I wasn't, blown away with their stuff. I'm keeping this one basically just because it has some Black Manta stuff that I liked in it, but issue 53, which was before that, it'd been a while since I'd read Aquaman, and I kind of forgot what had happened the last issue, and I guess somebody had died, but nobody seemed to give too much of a crap about it. And they didn't even, the issue 53 wasn't even like a funeral or a big coming to terms. It was just kind of like, what's everybody doing now that there's been a fight and it's over? It was just bad. Like I said, I'm keeping 54 and 55 a huge fan of this run, though Roka's art is really good. But really, just because of the Black Manta stuff. And 53, I tossed directly into the giveaway bin. I have a pile of stuff I need to take to my local comic book store, and I already kind of gifted them a stack of stuff to put in their quarter or nickel or dime bins wherever they felt necessary. And Aquaman 53 will be in there. This is Aquaman 56. This is actually by Kyle Higgins. So this was like a fill-in issue, and it was a flashback to like back, I want to say right after Rebirth, when they had who was it? When they had Brian Hitch doing the Justice League of America. So this was kind of a flashback, just a one issue, a one-off for that time period. I really liked this. This was so much better than some of the other Aquaman stuff has been. Probably just because it was a one and done, but I really liked that, so I kept that one. And finally on the Aquaman front, this is annual number 2. Picked this one up by accident because I don't normally pick up annuals. I find them to be a lot of the times unnecessary. But I accidentally picked this one up. When I went to the comic book store, they gave me my saver, and I looked through, and I must not have realized that this was the annual. So picked this up, and it was pretty good. Not great, not like horribly needed reading if you were reading the run, but good enough to where I figured I'd keep that. Let's see here. Next we have Witchfinder, Reign of Darkness. Unfortunately, I read number 1 and then didn't read anything for a while. I had the entire set of 1 through 5 sitting in order. But at one point I must have read number 1, and then it's just been a while since I sat down and had time to read, so I picked up and read 2 through 5, and missing or not remembering everything from issue 1 was kind of a bummer, because this is it's a Witchfinder Jack the Ripper story, and there were some suspects that he referred to in issues 2 through 5, which I totally forgot what had happened in issue 1 as to why. But overall, it was pretty good. Not my favorite Witchfinder story, but a good read nonetheless. It's hard, I think, to do good Jack the Ripper stories at this point. I mean, it's been done to death, Obviously, this is Mike Mignola, and I know that, to my knowledge, he's never done a Jack the Ripper story that I can remember. I don't remember any Hellboy Jack the Ripper tie-ins, but just coming to it after things like From Hell and the Constantine Hellblazer Jack the Ripper stories, it just felt like it was very late to the party, more or less. So, good. It had its own story. It wasn't following anything from any prior Jack the Ripper mythology and comics, but nonetheless, unfortunately, I think in a vacuum that would have been a little better. Action Comics 1024. I dropped Superman because that was, Bendis is doing Superman and Action Comics. Superman felt very, I don't want to say poorly written, but it felt like it was outside of Bendis's wheelhouse. He does, he came to his position with crime stories like Daredevil and Superpowers Wars and things like that, where it was very man on the street, and Superman is just so not man on the street. His Superman stuff, you could tell he didn't know how to have Superman in space fighting a giant alien. It was just not something that Bendis did. So I dropped Superman pretty early on, because it was obviously the poorer of the two. I kept up with Action Comics because it was very much tied into Lois and the Daily Bugle. But I can say now, after I don't know how many issues, I just feel like he's treading water. So I don't want to drop this. I might ask or see if I can find out when he comes off Action Comics. Because I don't know who's picking up the torch after he leaves, but it feels like he's coming to the end of something, but doesn't necessarily have enough story to fill those issues, if you know what I mean. So, and I know DC, this next, I think January and February, is this whole future state thing, which I have zero interest in. They did DC 1 million ages ago. None of that meant a damn. So here we are, 20 years later, we're gonna do the same thing. I have no interest. I've seen it before. So it'll be interesting to see who gets Superman after Bendis. This is Detective Comics from Tomasi, who I love. I had 2 issues before this, but both of those went into the giveaway pile. They were Joker War tie-ins, and they were way too much of a tie-in. One of them was basically all about Batwoman. So I tossed those 2. I don't know exactly what happened in Joker War. I don't exactly care. But Batman does seem to be, it's like he's lost his fortune and he's having to go old school. It's okay so far. Neither of these issues was a huge standout, but Rockfort on art is always good, so we'll see where it goes. I feel bad for Tomasi having to, do his own Batman stuff, because he knows what he's doing with this whole Joker War crap going on, because it skews what he would be doing. This is Hellblazer number 10. I've gone back and forth with this series. Issue 10 here was interesting. It seemed to be both setting up storylines and closing them off at the same time. The prior couple issues, there was a 2-parter with a mermaid that I found to be exceptional. But this series is very hit or miss with me. And to go with that, issue 11 was a major miss on my, as far as I'm concerned. It's harkened back to the Jack the Ripper storyline, because this politician that he deals with was part of that whole thing. And it was just weird. Towards the end of the issue, there's a surprise ending, and I had to look up on Wikipedia what the hell it was, referring to, and why I should have given a shit. Excuse my language, but I didn't. It was dumb. Next time I go to the store and I get my Saver, issue 12 will probably be in there. I will pick it up out of respect for the store, but I will probably be dropping Hellblazer because, I got 10 issues that were okay, so that's enough for me. But that's it for today, guys.